Owning a business may be stressful, but insuring it doesn't have to be. This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance. Our experienced agents have been in the industry for many years and understand the challenges you face. As an independent agency, we have access to multiple carriers, like Auto Owners Insurance, to ensure you get the policy that's right for your company. Let's give your business insurance a fresh look. Call us today, 435-752-0101.
The Above and Beyond Salute.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning. Is Jordan Hansen there?
This is him.
Someone reached out to us anonymously and told us how you work as a counselor at Pioneer Elementary. Is that right?
That's right.
And I guess on top of that, you also coach baseball and have done so for years and worked with youth camps.
I just like working with kids and helping them find their passion and helping them develop their skills.
The Above and Beyond Salute, sponsored by Firehouse Subs on News Talk KVNU. It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without a homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Go! Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And we welcome you to the show on a beautiful Saturday morning. Of course, a lot going on today and over the next couple of days. We'll get into that this morning. Got Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, who's joining us in the studio. And Mark, I'm sure it's pretty crazy right now at Anderson's. Looking forward to next week.
Absolutely. We got the marathon going on today,
Yeah,
so a little
left at 7 o'clock.
Little excitement downtown, so we got some activity going on there. But next weekend is the Center Street Giant Pumpkin Festival, so super excited about that, and there'll be so many fun things going on. So Lee's Marketplace is sponsoring our pie eating contest. We've got bands going on throughout the day at the plaza. So at 11 o'clock, we've got High Desert Surfers will be playing. At 1 o'clock, it'll be Erica Cheyenne and the Traveling Hippies. And at 3 o'clock, it will be the Foo Fighters. So we've got some great music going on at the plaza. And then in the evening on Center Street on the main stage, we'll have the Lonely Hearts Club Band from about 5:30 till 7. So they'll get to play for at least an hour and a half. So
Plus, you've got vendors coming in, more vendors than you've ever had.
Tons of vendors. We've got the children's market going on as well, too. So we've got about 25 kids coming for the children's market. We've got more food vendors. We've got more regular vendors. And Utah Theater is going to be doing movies throughout the day. So it's a great Pumpkin Charlie Brown will be going every hour on the hour. And then Hotel Transylvania, I think, is at 5:30.
Oh,
and they're all free. I mean,
yeah,
almost everything's free
yeah.
at the Pumpkin Festival. So
it's just going to be a lot of fun. And the huge pumpkins.
Huge pumpkins, yeah. So it sounds like we've been talking to some of the growers, and they kind of keep their secrets to themselves. You know, they don't want to like give it all away, but it sounds like we've got probably 3 pumpkins that are 2,000 pounds or more.
Which would be the biggest we've had yet.
biggest ones we've ever had. So
wow.
Yeah, so maybe we'll break a record. Maybe we'll break an Idaho State record. Sounds like we're going to break a Cache Valley record. So we broke the Cache Valley record last year, and I think we're going to break it again. But those growers are not saying too much, but they're showing a few kind of hidden photos on their social media streams and stuff. Yeah,
what they might have,
and they look pretty big.
Wow!
so I think we're gonna have some massive pumpkins.
Very cool
at this event. So if you want to see some really big pumpkins, this will be the place to come. But fun kids activities going on throughout the day. I think we've got 24 different free activities for kids, and lots of arts and pumpkin decorating and all kinds of cool stuff. So
and to kick it all off, starting next about 8 o'clock next Saturday, will be the pumpkin
The
run.
pumpkin run, yeah. The 5K, and Soul Speak Yoga's doing it. And you can still register, so you can go onto their website and register for it. And at 8 o'clock, they've got a 5K going on. So, yeah.
That'll be fun.
Should be awesome. I understand that one of the categories is run with a pumpkin. And so you got to carry a pumpkin the whole 5K. I thought it was awesome. I thought that was like really cool. So
very cool. Great.
Should be a blast.
All right. Well, this weekend, as you mentioned, Center Street is closed, but of course, Anderson's will be open with plenty of parking in the back. And the cash and carry sale is continuing on this weekend.
Yeah, cash and carry still going on. 50% if you pay with cash, so you get a 50% discount. And I've still got some nice trees, got some good shrubs. There's a few roses left. We've got some evergreens. And if you decide to pay with a check or a credit card, you get 40% off. So you still get a great deal. Okay. But if you pay with cash, you get that extra 10%. So the cash and carry is still going on. We just got some more perennials in yesterday. Perennials are all 25% off. And there's some good-looking ones. We just got some really nice mums and some asters and just some fall bloomers that look really good. And so greenhouses are kind of emptied out for Christmas. So we're starting to work on Christmas already. I think we've got 7 or 8 trees decorated already. Yeah, so we're pecking away at it. But outside the nursery, we just got some nice new color in. We've got the cash sale going on. So there's some good things happening.
All right.
Some good things happening there. So
okay. Well, a lot to talk about is we're kind of in that harvest time. I was mentioning just before we went on the air that we've been bottling beans for the last couple of weeks and going to be bottling beans again today, it sounds like.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Bean plants are going crazy. Tomatoes are really ripening up fast. And maybe also we can talk about fruit trees, too, because I know we saw some damage on several of the trees, including in our neighborhood, in our backyard. And so a lot we can talk about. We're opening up the phone lines for your questions. If you have a question or comment for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, the phone lines are 435-753-KVNU. That's 753-5868. And if you want to share with us your favorite secrets, because a lot of us have a lot of zucchini and a lot of peppers. I've cooked so many peppers.
More than you've ever cooked before.
I know.
Yeah. And they're ripening up. They're they're coloring up.
Incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah. It seems like every 2 or 3 days we're going out picking another peppers.
Like we've got so much stuff. We can't even come close to picking all of it. So it's been a very productive year. But the tomatoes are coming on like crazy.
Really fast now.
And if you're having a hard time getting your tomatoes to ripen up, we have talked on the show about some tricks, but now's the time to implement those tricks, right now. So we will usually recommend cut your water back so you're only watering when the plants kind of wilt a little bit. So we're going to force those plants to realize that fall's coming. We're going to make them ripen up a little bit. So cut your water back. Don't water as much. We don't want to completely kill the plants, but we want to stress them a little bit so that they realize that fall's coming and there's less water and they've got to ripen up. And so that will really help. No more fertilizer, so we're not going to fertilize them anymore.
Yeah.
And then at this point, we're starting to cover our plants in the evening with some frost cloth. Don't use plastic. We need something that's got a little bit of air breathability. Yeah, so you want to use like a frost cloth. We'll cover them in the late afternoon so it generates a lot of heat, and then leave them on at night. And then it will retain that heat through the night, and then your tomatoes will ripen up a lot faster. So we need those warmer nighttime temperatures, which it's starting to dip down into the 40s.
Yeah.
So we're getting 40s at night, and so that really slows down the maturity of your tomato plants. And so by covering them, that's going to really, really help. And then what we've done in our garden is we put down weed barrier or black plastic on the ground to generate, again, more heat
during the day,
and then it retains that heat at night, and so then your tomatoes will ripen up like crazy. We picked another bushel this week.
Okay.
They're just going crazy. So if you can do that for the next couple of weeks through the first or second week of October, you'll get almost all your fruit to ripen before we have a hard frost.
Okay.
I haven't seen a hard frost in the forecast.
No, not yet.
So we're looking pretty good. So we could easily get into October without having frost, and that would be sensational. And we can really get a lot of ripe fruit. Squashes are really ripening up as well too. We can maybe talk about harvesting squash now.
Yeah,
because we're getting there.
And I was
We're
just
pretty
checking
close.
the temperature records. Coldest temperature we've had so far is 44 degrees. That was on Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So
Yeah,
kind of gives you an idea of what we might be looking at.
A little bit chilly.
Yeah, getting
chilly.
there. Starting to see my breath when I'm out on my early morning runs, Mark.
And next weekend, it looks like we've got mid-70s for the Pumpkin Festival, which is pretty
good.
Pretty tough to beat.
Yeah.
I'll take
Won't
70.
be too hot.
I'll take 76 every single time for the Pumpkin Festival.
Perfect.
Yeah, it is perfect.
All right, well, let's go out to the phones and start answering some questions here on the Garden Guide. We have Susan joining us on the line first from Logan. Susan, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning. Hey, I have developed, particularly on my later corn, some smut. I know that it's a vicious thing. It's particularly on my later corn and particularly on my later ears, the second ears on the cob.
Right.
I'm wondering if there's something that I should do as I'm pulling out those stalks. Is there something that I can do? Is there a variety that I could plant next year that's a little more resistant? I know it tends to stay in the soil forever. Give me some help on this one.
You got it. Okay. You got it. So corn smut is showing up late this year because we didn't have hardly any rain throughout the summer. And so there wasn't a lot of humidity and moisture. And so we didn't really see hardly any through the summertime. But it's shown up now because we've all of a sudden had rainstorms and some humidity. And so we've seen a bunch of it showing up in September. So what I would recommend is to cut those stalks down, the ones that have been infected, and then bag them up, and don't like throw them on your ground or anything, as you cut them off, bag them up so that you don't drop spores all over the place, and then send them to the landfill, burn them, get rid of them somehow, but don't compost them because the spores from the smut just spread all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like millions of them, and that would be the best place to start. And then you can go ahead and finish, harvesting your corn, and then, do all the corn stalks that you would for fall. But then next year, just make sure and use a fungicide like Complete Disease Control or the Fungicide 5, because it'll kill a lot of those spores in the soil. And so it will do a good job sterilizing your soil and preventing it from coming back again. But usually,
and I do that as I plant the corn generally in the whole
as you're
area?
planting. Yeah, you could spray that area down with it, and it'll get into the soil, and then it will stop diseases in the soil. It's the product that I use to stop verticillium and fusarium in my tomatoes, and it works sensational. Works really, really well for that. But the best thing you can do is just mechanically harvest it and get rid of it.
And no variety particularly is resistant?
They are. So a lot of the new varieties are resistant to it, but none of them are completely resistant to it. So there's some natural resistance built into, say, Bodacious or Incredible, and so just continue to plant some of those better varieties. There might be a few varieties that are a little bit more resistant, but I couldn't tell you what those are off the top of my head. So.
And tell me the name of the fungicide that I should use.
Fungicide 5 from Fertilome. And like a pint bottle will make like 100 gallons. So it goes a long way, and it's under $20 for the pint bottle. So it's very reasonably priced, and it does a really great job with all kinds of soil diseases, and it should really, really help. The key is to make sure and just harvest it and bag it and get rid of it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Okay.
And is there a
Thanks, Susan.
Thank you so much for the call, Susan. And we didn't really talk, but is there a specific cause for smut on corn?
So it is fungal.
Okay.
And in many cases, some of the smut is actually it's edible, and it's supposed to taste really, really good. I've never tried it before, but supposedly you can cook it or stir fry it, and it's amazing. Like, it's supposed to taste like absolutely delicious. But it looks like aliens have entered your corn patch, and these gray kind of mushroomy looking things are growing all over the corn. Yeah, all over the corn. So interesting. It's supposed to be a delicacy if you get it at the right time.
Well, of course, and then of course some people say that parsley is a delicacy too.
Yes, that's true. Got to harvest that
and
at the right time.
And I keep telling them, you're welcome to my garden because that stuff is nasty.
Got to harvest it at the right time. But those spores, they blow around, they land on the corn, and then all of a sudden you've got them growing on the ears of your corn, and it does. It looks like aliens have invaded
Just
your corn
invaded your
patch.
corn
Yeah,
patch.
yeah, it's really quite interesting when you
All right.
first see the corn smut.
Well, excellent call, Susan. Appreciate those calls. You can, if you've got a question or comment for Mark, phone lines are open at 753-5868. That's 753-KVNU. Well, let's move and talk fruits a little bit. We were talking earlier about harvesting pears, and I have to tell you, we pulled all of our pears off the tree about 2 weeks ago, put them in a box, put a blanket over that box, and have just let them slowly ripen. And about 2 to 3 are ripe every morning. And it's just been fantastic.
It's the best. Yeah, it's absolutely the best. So, we've got pears we've got to pick this weekend as well, too. And the best way to ripen those pears up is to put them in a bushel basket, put a light blanket over them, put them in the garage where it's cool, and then those pears will just gradually ripen. And as they ripen, they're just like perfect for consumption. And our pears, nice size this year, and really, really delicious. I think our peaches are just about shot. We've harvested just about all of our peaches. We don't have any like really late varieties, but there's some that will come on towards the end of September, 1st of October. But ours are pretty much all shot. But our apples are looking really good too.
Yeah,
apples are looking great.
I was walking around the neighborhood and found that one of our neighbors has a Macintosh. That's one of my favorite apple. Kind of takes me back to when I was a paper boy years ago up on the bench in Logan. A lot of Macintosh trees up there. So as a paper boy, I'd be picking a couple apples, throwing them in my paper bag, and then eating them throughout the day. Well, so there was a tree that just was loaded in our neighborhood, and a couple of them have fallen down, and grabbed one of those. Man, they are just so good, so ripe right now. This is the time for Macintosh. Our Yellow Delicious, not quite there yet.
No, and they're a little bit later. They're usually like the first or second week of October. And we've got some Fuji and some John of Gold that kind of tend to be the first part of October as well, too. But, Macintosh are like cooking right now.
This is the best time.
They're coming on right now. And Cortland are a little bit later than that as well, too, but they taste just like Macintosh.
So good.
So really good.
All right, well, let's go back out to the phone lines. We have Kim joining us on the line from Logan. Kim, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I have just a couple of little questions, not major ones. I have planted some strawberries and put them in some pots. And how do I winter them over if they're in pots?
So the strawberries in the pots, you can definitely do it. I wouldn't leave them like out on my porch or on my patio or my deck or anything, because depending on the size of how big's the pot? I guess that's a better question to start off with. How large?
Probably, maybe 14-inch pots.
Okay, so not gigantic. The bigger the pot, the better insulated the plants will be through the wintertime. So 14 inches kind of like not quite big enough. It'll freeze all the way through, and then it will damage the root system, and your berries won't come back again next year. And so what we would usually recommend is, as the temperatures decrease, you can leave it outside. That's just fine. It's in December and January that it gets cold enough to really freeze that soil and freeze it solid. So probably towards Thanksgiving, I would water them thoroughly, let them drain, and then bring them into like the garage, or, it doesn't have to be heated, but just somewhere where it's a little bit more protected. And then they'll go dormant, and water them maybe once every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, so that there's a little bit of soil moisture there for them. But they'll go dormant, but it won't freeze the pot solid all the way through unless we get some really, really, really cold temperatures. And then if that happens, then once we get into March, you can just bring those back out, and they'll just like perk up and take off like crazy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
that's doable.
Yeah, through the winter, they don't need a whole lot of light. But if you have them in a spot where they get a little bit of light, that's great. But they don't need a whole lot of light. But they will need a little bit of water from time to time. And so a little water every 2 to 3 weeks, just to keep the soil from completely desiccating, and your plants should winter over okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And I've been following the fertilizing for my flower pots and things. When do I stop fertilizing my flowers?
Usually the 1st of October, we kind of stop doing the the feeding.
Okay.
Yeah, but if the weather's great, I mean, last year we had beautiful flowers until almost Halloween. So you kind of want them to keep going. So they look really, really good right now. And so we're still feeding, but come the first or second week of October, we'll cut back the feeding, but we'll still water them occasionally just to keep them looking good until it does freeze pretty hard. So
yeah, okay, all right, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for calling, Kim. Have a great weekend.
Hey, you too. Bye-bye.
And that opens up a phone line at 435-753-5868, 753-KVNU. Got a question, comment for Mark Anderson of Anderson's Seed and Garden. While we're on the topic, as a lot of people are maybe starting to scale back on fertilizing those flowers, roses, though. Yeah. Meanwhile, a lot of they're still coming on and they're still blooming. When should you start tailing back on fertilizing roses?
That is a really good question. So we try to fertilize like our last time in August, so that they slow down in September and October and aren't like growing through the part of the year when they should be starting to go dormant. Right. And so usually in August we'll say, okay, this is our last fertilization. We're done. And then no fertilizer in September and October until you get ready to winterize the roses. And then we put magnesium sulfate and potash on those plants. And we water that in really thoroughly. And that's right at the time where we're mulching the roses for the wintertime. And so you can use leaves and grass clippings. You can use various composts, to put in around those. And we'll recommend, 10 to 12 inches of compost in around the canes of those roses to try and insulate and protect those grafts so they don't get damaged. And so if you can do the magnesium sulfate, the potash, and maybe even some sulfur at that point, so that combination of those three products is really, really great for the soil. It helps the roses become hardier through the wintertime. It'll protect them and make them definitely more resilient, and they will come back better for you the next year.
Okay.
And bloom better for you the next year. The magnesium really helps with bloom encouraging. Yeah. And so it really gets the plants healthy and ready to flower like crazy the next year.
And that target date for winterizing your roses, usually around November,
end October, first part of November. Okay. Yeah, is really a good time. If the weather stays nice, you could do it a little bit later, but usually definitely by Thanksgiving, we've got them covered up, and you can get a little bit of a snowstorm in late October, and it'll just melt off. That's fine. But by the time we get into late November, sometimes we'll get those snowstorms, and they don't go away.
Yeah,
doesn't go away for months, unfortunately. My wife and I were talking about it last night. It's like, all right, next season's coming. Yeah, really. Fall's gorgeous, though. We were looking at the Wellsvilles. We were over in Mendon last night. We're looking at the Wellsville Mountains, and it's like there's yellow up on top where the aspen are changing colors, and there's some reds and there's some oranges, but there's still some nice greens in there as well, too. So the colors aren't quite as vibrant as they have been years past, but the contrast is really nice.
Really, really pretty.
It's really pretty, yeah.
Yeah,
it's great.
Changing quickly as, hard to believe, but winter is approaching. It seemed like this summer has just flown by. Phone lines open, 753-5868. That's 753-KVNU if you have a question, comment for Mark. We were talking earlier about getting your pears to ripen, your apples to ripen. But along with that, it seemed like a lot of fruit trees saw a really heavy crop. I know for our one tree, it had more apples on it, and even after thinning them, they were so strong, and we ended up taking some damage on our Yellow Delicious tree. And what is the best way? We lost 2 limbs, and what's the best way to treat those and to prevent any sort of disease coming in as you may get a limb loss? So
there's some techniques you can do to prune properly so it doesn't damage the main tree if you've got some branches that have broken off. And so we can trim those and clean them up. And with even bigger branches, you want to leave a little bit of a collar for the tree to heal over. So don't always cut it like straight flush with the tree, but you want to leave about 1/4 of an inch of a collar sticking out past the trunk where the branch used to be. So you'll get a good clean cut right next to the tree, but leave about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of a collar, and then it'll actually heal over better if you leave that collar, because there's a lot of resilient tissue. I can't say it's stem cells, but that's probably what they are. I don't know. I don't know for sure, but the tissue kind of bunches up. It looks kind of clumped together right there where the branch is attached to the tree. There's lots and lots of growth cells in there. And so when you cut it off and leave that collar, it leaves all those cells there. And then it enhances and quickens the healing process.
Kind of scabbing it over.
Exactly, yeah. And then it'll cover that over much quicker. And as the tree grows, all of a sudden that stump won't be there anymore. It's just like it gets incorporated right into the tree. It's just like disappears. And so a little bit of pruning sealer this time of year is good. You don't need to like drown it. Yeah, just a light coat on there. So nice clean cut, leave a 1/4 inch collar, a little bit of pruning sealer over it, and it should be great. Should be really, really good. And then again, to prevent that from happening, we definitely want to try and thin as early as possible, and then that way you have multiple opportunities to go thin some more, because with a bunch of my trees, I thinned. And then I went back like 3 weeks later, and I thinned them again. And I went back 3 weeks later. It's like, oh, there's still too much fruit on there. I thinned them one more time, and that still probably wasn't enough. And then the more fruit you get on there, the larger it gets, and you got a whole bunch of big fruit on there, and then you got branches that break because of the weight that's on there. The other thing that a lot of people really don't do is you got to make sure that your scaffold branches that come off of your trunk of your tree are as close to 45-degree angles as possible. It's those 45-degree angle branches, the crotch in there, that are the strongest. So they will be able to handle the weight. So your scaffold branches need to be somewhere in that 40 to 50-degree angle. And then the branches that come off of those scaffold branches, which are called lateral branches can be more horizontal. And it's the horizontal branches that are more productive. They'll produce a lot more fruit. But those are the ones that tend to break a little bit. And so because they're flat. And the angles are too open, and so the branches aren't as strong. And so if you've got good, strong scaffold branches, you'll be less likely to do damage to the main part of the tree, because it'll break out on the lateral instead of on the scaffold, which is okay because you can fix that a lot easier. Much easier to fix.
And these were just the very, very tops of the tree. And so, but I love what you mentioned about making sure that you have a good inch, giving that tree a little bit of space there to be able to heal over. And then, like you said, a little pruning seal can go a long way too.
Hurts,
Okay. All right. Phone lines open. 435-753-5868. 753 KVNU. Take a quick break and be back with more of your questions and comments from Mark Anderson here on The Garden Guide on this Saturday morning. 30 minutes after the hour, and with your KVNU local headlines, I'm Will Feelright. Well, the Bear River Health Department has confirmed the first measles case in an unvaccinated individual in Cache County. Now, health officials say they are conducting contact tracing now to prevent further spread of the highly contagious disease. Now, due to medical privacy laws, no other information about the case was released. Now, the health department has identified, though, 2 public locations where exposure may have occurred. One of those was the Intermountain Budge Clinic in Logan on September 15th. The other was at Chick-fil-A in Providence on September 11th. Now, measles symptoms, which typically appear about 7 to 14 days after exposure, can include high fever, cough, runny nose, red watery eyes, and a rash. And in other news, a Smithfield City Council member is facing backlash after a heated exchange with police officers that was captured on body camera footage. Now, the footage shows Councilmember Ted Stokes threatening to defund the city's police force and mocking the officers' training. Now, the incident occurred back on August 3rd when officers were responding to a car crash that involved Stokes' son. Now, the video has sparked outrage with fellow city council members and the mayor of Smithfield issuing a joint statement condemning Stokes' behavior. Now, in the statement, they said that Stokes' actions were inconsistent with the values and principles of the council. Now, Stokes has since apologized as well, acknowledging his unprofessional conduct and admitting that his behavior violated a canon of ethics. Now, the police department has not yet commented on the incident, and no formal action has been taken against Stokes. As of yet, he remains a member of the Smithfield City Council. Well, cloudy skies, a chance of some isolated showers and thunderstorms the next several days. Will Feel-Right, KVNU News.
I'm Jim Bass. We'll get it started with baseball. Mariners Astros for first place in the AL West.
Brown rocks. Any deals? Swung on and destroyed. This one is liftoff in Houston, on its way into the train tracks. Goodbye, Gino Suarez. A no-doubter into space. And the Mariners extend the lead. It's 2-0 as the boos rain down here in Houston.
Seattle Sports 710 AM. Suarez is 47. 3 other M's went deep in a 4-0 win. They take over first place, have won 11 of 12 and control their fate for the division with 8 games to go. Those two on ESPN Radio tonight, 6:30 Eastern. Clayton Kershaw, final regular season Dodger Stadium start, fans 6 over 4 1/3. LA was down 2-1 in the 5th versus the Giants. 2 on for Shohei.
The stretch and the delivery. And Shohei swings, hits a long drive to left toward the corner. It is gone! It is gone! Shohei Ohtani with home run number 52. A 3-run shot. And the Dodgers have flipped the script on the Giants and now lead this ball game 4-2.
Yeah, it's AM 570 LA Sports. Ohtani and Mookie Betts go back-to-back in a 6-3 win over San Francisco. They're 4 up in the West. Nick Castellanos, 2-run, a home run, and the Phils 8-2 win over the Diamondbacks. Zonas 3 back at that third wild card. Bo Naylor snapped an 8th-inning tie with a 2-run single. Guardians over the Twins 6-2. There are 2.5 out of first in the Central after their 8th straight win. In WNBA, Alyssa Thomas, a triple-double, 5th of her playoff career. Mercury eliminate the defending champion Liberty, 79-73.
We're here with Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center. So what's the catch on this free week of interest?
If you're a new customer, the first week's interest is on us. It's free to apply and there's no other fees. So I guess the catch is you got to be a first-time customer. Think of it as a free trial. No matter how much you borrow, if you don't dig it, all you need to do is pay back the principal within a week and that's it. No interest, no fees. It allows folks to see how much they can save, how much more we lend, and our flexibility for them to pay it back, even if you need up to a year.
Thanks, Chuck. DLC lends up to $5,000 in minutes, and you can get your cash in person at one of our 70 locations, on our website, don'tbebroke.com, or even over the phone with one of our helpful, real staff members. You're gonna love Dollar Loan Center.
License by the Utah Department of Financial Institutions. Subject to approval. Limitations may apply. See website for details.
From gardening to landscaping, The Garden Guide with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
And welcome back to The Garden Guide here on KVNU. It's now 8:37, 54 degrees outside. Mark, you mentioned earlier, Center Street closed today, of course, because of the Top of Utah Marathon. The runners taking off this morning at 7 o'clock.
But Anderson's is still open.
And we'll be open all day.
Still open.
Yes.
So it's hard to get in the front door.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get in the back door because they got the road closed because the marathon goes over first west. But you can still sneak past the sign and get into our parking lot. So, yeah, just go through the parking lot there at La Ranchera.
Yeah,
and you're set.
You got plenty of parking.
Yeah, because all the access into like that center block is kind of closed off with the marathon, except for from First West there, and that's kind of partially closed off as well too. So don't be afraid of the signs. Just come right into that parking lot, no problem.
Okay,
we got you covered.
And while you're there, you can take advantage of the cash and carry sale at 50% off.
Cash sale. So there's still some nice trees. There's some fruit trees. There's some shade trees, flowering trees. We've got some nice shrubs. We've got roses. We've got evergreens. There's vines. They are all 40% off. But if you pay with cash, you get an extra 10%, and they're 50% off. And we found some homes for some really, really nice plants in the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
And this is the time of year where we really do want to kind of clearance everything out and make room for, of course, for next year. And what we found is we can winter a lot of that product over, and it winters over just fine. It looks great the next year, and they're even more established in the pots. But what we found is, like, when we're bringing new product in from Oregon or Washington, and it shows up the 1st of April, and it's all leafed out, and they're about ready to bloom, for the flowering trees, and everything just looks amazing. All of our stuff that we wintered over is still sitting there dormant, and it doesn't even have like a single bud on it, let alone a leaf. And so they sit there for like 2 months with the other stuff that's really pretty right next to it before they finally like leaf out and look good. And so they don't sell very well. And it's just because of the variation in climate from Oregon and Washington to here. They're like 6 weeks ahead of us. So all of our stuff is, obviously 6 weeks behind. And so we've just found it's better for us to clear stuff out, find a home for it, make sure our customers are happy because they got a great deal, half price, you can't beat. And then next year, everything will be all brand new and beautiful and ready to go.
And with right now and the moisture we're starting to get, a little bit of rain, like I said, overnight, this is the perfect time.
Oh, it is perfect. It's perfect. And it looks like we got a little storm coming in, Monday?
Yeah, could see. I mean, there is a chance of some scattered, isolated storms through the weekend.
Yeah.
And
so planting
Monday.
stuff today, whether it's perennials, because we just got some nice, beautiful new perennials in yesterday. So we've got some mums, we got some asters, we got some really good looking stuff that just arrived. Those could be planted. Pansies can be planted. And then if you're doing trees or shrubs, from now until really Thanksgiving is a prime time for planting trees and shrubs because it is cooling down. The soil is going to be moist a little bit longer. Temperatures are cooler. They don't stress as much. And they'll have plenty of time to get established before winter really hits in. And then if you use some of our products like Kangaroots or the Bigfoot and you do our 5-year guarantee, then your plants are guaranteed for the next 5 years as well too. But it gets them established so much faster. Like it's amazing how quickly the Bigfoot and the Kangaroots focus on getting that root system healthy and getting it big and getting it to spread out all over the place. So we're seeing some really great results with some fall plantings, and especially with grass too. Great time for planting grass. We've had a lot of people coming in, taking advantage of the grass planting program with the
Cache Water
District. Yeah, so the Cache Water District is doing some turf replacement program, and you've got to get with them to get information on how to do that. But drought tolerant grass, we're trying to encourage as many people in the valley to swap their thirsty grass out for a very, very drought tolerant grass, which still looks beautiful, is soft to walk on, but you could get away in the middle part of the summer, June, July, August, watering once a week, and your grass would stay green throughout the summertime.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it is. It's a really, really nice grass blend, and it's quite inexpensive. We're talking with the discount that they're doing, which is a 50% discount on the grass. It's like 2.8 cents a square foot.
Oh, wow.
Is what it costs. Yeah. And so it's very, very inexpensive to do. Just make sure you get with the Cache Water District. And we've got flyers at Anderson's if you want to get more information on it, where you could just scan it with your phone. It'll take you to the website so you can register, and they'll get you hooked up and ready to go.
Okay.
So, awesome program.
All right, 435-753 KVNU is the phone number if you have a question or comment for Mark. That's 753 KVNU, 753-5868. And while we were taking our news break, another question came in about
Sunchokes, Sunchokes. So Todd messaged me and said, how do I prepare sunchokes now that I have 5 million of them? Because they spread like crazy, like wildfire, and they look like sunflowers, but the tubers that develop underneath them are edible, and they're called sunchokes or Jerusalem artichokes, and they are quite pretty. And I would say they have the appearance of kind of... the tubers look kind of like iris bulbs, but they taste a little bit like a nutty potato. And so they've got a really nice flavor. They're really good. So you can do them as a raw dish. They have kind of a sweet, crisp, like I said, nutty flavor. You can eat them raw. and just kind of slice them. And I've heard from other people you can put them in water with like a little lemon juice or a little vinegar to keep them from browning as well too. And then you can add the slices to like a salad or a slaw or something for like a crunchy, nutty flavor in there. You can roast them. So you can roast them just like, other roasted vegetables. So you just like roast them in the oven. And that like intensifies their flavor. Yeah, intensifies the flavor more. You can saute them. And so like just a little light oil. I think like a little avocado oil, something that's can cook a little hotter. would be really, really good. And just slice them up and then, saute them for 3 to 5 minutes probably on multiple sides. And they would do great.
Okay.
Yeah. Since they are a little bit more durable and a little thicker, you'd probably have to saute them a little bit longer than like say broccoli or onions or something like that, which would cook a little bit faster. And then a lot of people use them in like purees or put them in soups and different things like that as well too. And then I've actually heard about some gardeners do them as like potato chips. So you can like so you can
slice
them and then fry them for like
and then
potato
a little
chips.
Oil
Yeah. So those are 4 or 5 different good ways to prepare the sunchokes for a delicious snack.
Okay.
And they're really nutritious. They're good for you.
All right.
Yeah, so really good for you as well too.
Sunchokes, that's a new one I have not tried. 435-753 KVNU is the phone number, 753-5868. Now, you mentioned lawns are a great time to seed, also a great time to fertilize and to start cutting your mower blade down.
Yep. And weeds. So we've lots of people coming in saying, I have more weeds right now than I've had for like the last 10 years. And you're right. It's like that hot, dry summer. And then now all of a sudden we're getting a lot of moisture. And the weeds are they're just popping up like crazy. So lots and lots of weeds in the turf. And, once you control those weeds, and we recommend this time of year, I would highly recommend the weed-free zone. That's still like one of the very, very best products for controlling weeds in your turf without damaging your turf. And it works on morning glory and thistles and mallow and clover and puncture vine and purslane and all the really hard to kill stuff. It works great. If you've got some really hard to kill stuff like wild violets, wild violets they're just tough. We'll switch to like Spurge Power from Monterey, and that's a really good product. But we're highly recommending either an herbicide enhancer or a spreader sticker with it right now because it will penetrate into the weed faster. It will spread through the weed quicker. You'll get better results, and it also makes it rain fast in a very short amount of time. So if you spray and then all of a sudden a rainstorm pops up and doesn't wash all your spray off immediately. So get those weeds under control, and then overseed with some grass, because then the grass will take the place of the weeds, and then you don't have weeds popping back up
into the same spot.
In those same spots, yeah, because the weeds will kind of push the grass out of the way, and you want to throw some seed out there to take the place of the weeds once you get those under control, so then you don't have weeds coming like right back in that same location. And planting grass for the next 3 weeks is like, this is prime time. This is like perfect time for planting. In fact, I had somebody in the other day, and they had planted grass in July, and they were a little bit annoyed because it didn't come up the way they thought it should have. And they got busy though, and they didn't come in and complain about it. And then they came in this week, and they're like, well, we're going to come in and complain about the grass, but now all of a sudden it's coming up all over the place in September. And I was like, you know what that means, right? And they're like, no, what? And I was like, you didn't water it enough in July. And it sat there for 2 months. And now that we're finally getting rain, it's all coming up. And they're like, oh.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So a little cooler temperatures, a little bit more water.
Goes a long way.
Grass is going to come up like crazy. And all of a sudden that spot that they were struggling with getting the grass to come up, it's just like filled in,
taken off
like crazy. Yeah, it just took 2 months for it to germinate, which is a little longer than usual.
Yeah,
it should take about a week or 10 days.
Okay.
So right now, week or 10 days, pretty much every type of grass will germinate in that time period. And really good time for overseeding, really good time to aerate your turf, and then overseed after that. control your weeds, overseed. This is like a great time to incorporate some new varieties of grass into your turf. It'll thicken your lawn up. The thicker your lawn is, the less likely you are to have weeds, and your grass will just be more resilient. And as there's new grass coming up in with the older grass, it just kind of replaces some of the older stems and the older root systems, and then your grass just all of a sudden looks great. And you just don't have as many problems, and you don't have to water as much, and you're less likely to get insects because all that new grass is a lot more resilient than your older grass that starts to get get aged. It just gets aged. So by incorporating new grass in, we're constantly adding new varieties and new resilience and new resistances to insects and diseases. So. Yeah.
Also, as temperatures start to drop, it's a good time to start dropping your lawnmower too.
Yes. Yeah. So we've started to drop our mower a notch, not every time we're mowing, but probably every other time that we're mowing, until probably in November. We'll have it down almost as low as it will go, just to clean up that grass and get it as short as possible before winter sets in, because the grass actually does grow underneath the snow. So if we get snow around Thanksgiving and it sticks around until March, the grass will actually grow underneath the snow. And it's not unusual for homeowners to come into the store and they're like, God, I mowed my lawn like really close last fall, but this spring it's like shaggy and it's like dead stuff all over the place, and it will actually grow underneath the snow for months. It doesn't grow really fast. I mean, you don't notice it.
More dormant.
Yeah, it's definitely more dormant, but it'll still grow. And so the closer you can mow it in November or even early December, the easier it's going to be to clean up in the springtime, because if you forget to mow and it's really tall in the spring, it's going to be taller. Yeah, it's going to be taller, and then you're going to have to like thatch it and rake it and clean it all up. But if you mow really, really close in the fall, then by the time winter leaves and spring arrives, your grass will still be relatively short. And at that point, I'll just throw some humate on and mow the grass like a week or two later after the humate really kicks in. And I don't even have to like rake it or do anything to it. Yeah. Right. If you've had problems with like snow mold, really late in November is a great time to throw a little fungicide on there.
Okay.
To prevent snow mold. And it tends to accumulate in areas where there's a lot of snow. And so like if you do the snow blower along the driveway and you throw it all in the same spot and it gets piled up, so you've got the 6 foot tall pile of snow,
it takes forever to melt.
That's where the snow mold tends to hit, is in those spots where the snow is really deep and it takes longer for it to go. And so if you have some of those locations, preventatively throw a little bit of humate down, throw a little bit of systemic fungicide down, and it will prevent that, so you don't have that problem to deal with again next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And there's not really many grasses that are resistant to the snow mold. Turf-type perennial rye resists every other disease that's out there except snow mold.
Now, is there any particular grass that is less desirable for voles, I guess I should say?
No.
Yeah, they like everything.
They like it all. Yeah, and that's another reason for mowing your grass really short, is because the shorter the grass is, the less pocket they have to
burrow.
To play all winter long. And so if your grass is really short, the snow is able to compact down more, and so there's not this little perfect air pocket for the voles to hang out in. And if your grass is taller, as the snow accumulates, it kind of leaves this little small pocket there, because the grass kind of holds the snow up, and so then it's like this perfect vole utopia out there. They can just play all winter long, and there's no predators, or they just multiply over and over and over every month until there's like hundreds of them out there. So cut it short, use a little vole repellent. Once the snow comes, pack that snow down around the perimeter of your property to keep the voles from coming in from the vacant lot next door, from the empty field out back, because that's where they're going to come from, and they're going to hang out in your lawn all winter and have a party.
Okay.
Yeah, just have a big party out
there. A couple of good reasons to start lowering that lawnmower blade.
Yeah,
not only for the health of the grass, but also prevention of voles as much as we can. Well, Mark, we have only about 5 minutes left. Quick reminder that the cash sale continues today with 50% when you pay with cash.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, 50% off. So all of our trees and flowering trees and fruit trees and shrubs and evergreens, 40% off. But if you pay with cash, you get an extra 10. So an extra 10% off makes it 50% off. And our clearance trees and shrubs, they are all eligible for our 5-year guarantee. So we highly recommend that. And this is a great time to plant, to get your plants established before winter sets in. And great prices and some really good plants left still as well, too. I had somebody in picking up some trees yesterday. We chatted in the parking lot as we were loading them up. And he was super excited, stoked, got his trees for half price, and he was going to go home and dig his holes and get them planted this weekend. Yeah.
Great.
So great time to do that. So 50% off if you pay with cash, and we do have some good plants left. And the Pumpkin Festival is next weekend.
Yes.
Weekend.
So next week, we will be bringing the Garden Guide to you live from Center Street to kick off the Center Street Pumpkin Festival. As soon as Mark gets back from the 5K, he'll be joining us after carrying that pumpkin, right?
Exactly, carrying the pumpkin all the way. And we've got some great sponsors this year. Of course, Cache Valley Bank has always been our title sponsor, and it's just so helpful to have them as a partner to make these things happen downtown. But Cache Valley Electric as well, too. They are always involved in all the great things happening in Cache Valley. So thanks to Cache Valley Electric and Lee's Marketplace. Lee's is outstanding, and they're doing the pumpkin pie eating contest. So that's their big thing this year. We're doing that pie contest in the plaza, and I think it's from 2:00 until 3:00.
Yeah, 2 to 3.
You've got to go to their booth to register next Saturday to be a part of the pie eating contest. But if you think you have the skills or the stomach of steel to do that, Lee's will have, I think, 4 categories for the pumpkin pie eating contest. So there's
different age groups.
Different age groups, yeah. So we got different age groups. It should be a blast. It should be a blast. And then we've got this is something new. We've got Wi-Fiber doing free Wi-Fi for the whole event. So they'll be setting up like a tower or a network downtown. So if you come, you can get free Wi-Fi throughout the whole event while you're there. So that's a new sponsor. Chamber of Commerce is a great sponsor as well, too. The Chamber's always been helpful for all the events that we've put together, and they step up and really make it so we can do a lot of the stuff that we do down there.
Now, we'll be there from 8 to 9 o'clock, bringing you the Garden Guide, and the festival actually won't start until 11. Now, they do have the 8 a.m. It's called the Great Pumpkin Run 5K.
Yep, the Great Pumpkin
That starts at 8 o'clock, but really the festivities, the festival, the weigh-ins, that gets underway at 11?
Yeah, at 11 o'clock. And we'll start with the kids category. And once the kids categories are over, then they'll start the giant pumpkins. And throughout the day, they'll be weighing some of the unique vegetables that they also do. So they'll do like biggest tomato, they'll do biggest watermelon, they'll do biggest gourd. They've got a whole bunch of different mixed vegetable categories, and those will get like introduced throughout the day while we're doing the giant pumpkins. Yeah, because there's not as many of those.
Right.
But they kind of can fit in between. And by 4 o'clock, we should have all the pumpkins like weighed, and then we'll announce who is the Center Street Giant this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that'll be between about 4:30 to 5 o'clock?
It should be between 4 and 5.
Okay.
Yeah, between 4 and 5. And you never know how many pumpkins are going to show up. Right now, we know there's going to be at least 20. Okay. But sometimes people don't register early, and they just like show up the day of. You know? It's like, all right, guys, it's like it'd be nice if you'd registered at least a day before, you know, but sometimes they never know. Like our good friend Jay in Wyoming, he's got 3 big pumpkins he's growing, and one is probably getting close to 2,000 pounds, and it split the other day. So it can be just even like last minute, and if it splits, it's not valid for the weigh off. You're done. Yeah. And so it happens sometimes. Sometimes we think we're going to have more, and then a split happens or some damage occurs, and it's not eligible anymore. So it's a tricky like hobby. It's not that easy. I mean, this is my second year doing it, and I was hoping to get like a 700 or 800 pounder, and I think I'm going to be right at like 650 like I was last year. Yeah, it's going to be like the same.
All right. Hey, well, that's still impressive.
Despite all the cool things that I did to it this year, I probably tortured it a little bit too much in the middle of summer when we were gone for a couple of weeks. And, yeah.
And now you're regretting
it. Takes a lot of time. Not regretting, just kind of disappointed. I was hoping to get a little bit bigger, but, it's more work than I can put into it. Like I don't have anything else to do.
Right, exactly.
Other than grow giant pumpkins.
Well, we really hope you join us next week for the Giant Pumpkin Festival. It's become a fun fall tradition just in the last couple of years. And it'll all get underway again next week at 11 o'clock. And then continue up until about 7 o'clock.
7, yeah. Music throughout the day, movies, fun, kids' activities. It'll be a blast.
Okay. And join us again next week for the Garden Guide here on KVNU Logan.
Keeping you informed 24/7. News Talk KVNU Logan, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.